The Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs announced that over half of England's 57,000 farms have diversified. If you are looking to expand your farm, enter a new market, or simply need more money and are contemplating diversifying within the farming industry, this podcast is here to assist you, the farming industry professional.
Income from diversification is increasing, with 490 million being made from 2013 to 2014. This is a 40 million increase from 2012 to 2013. This is one sector in the industry that is definitely harvesting its potential.
Gov UK states that farmers who diversify make approximately an extra £10,400 worth of income purely through the diversification add-on to the business. As you can see from the graph, the percentage of farms with diversified activities has risen significantly in the last 7 years, with the amount ever increasing.
Yes, my business has increased double-fold in the last year. Obviously, my overheads are a little bit higher, but I've still managed to make a bigger profit.
Accommodation is one of the fastest growing types of farm diversification, and therefore it is important to get it right. You need to identify the market, where the demand lies, and of course, who your competitors are and what they are offering your customers.
As with any industry, understanding these factors can determine the success of the business. In 2014, 92.6 million domestic overnight trips were taken in England, with an expenditure of around £18.1 billion. On average, this would suggest that a Great British adult would spend approximately 3.1 nights away, with £199 spent per trip. Ever increasing through the reduction in the economy, the demand is there for you to create a viable business. Although it is clear a market exists, it is important to recognise whether there is one in your area for this form of tourism. One way of doing this is to analyse the number of accommodation providers and tourism trends that are in your area alone. This will give you an idea as to whether or not tourists are already attracted to your area or not.
Self-catering accommodation has a much higher importance on the countryside, where it accounts for more than double the gross expenditure related to serviced accommodation. There is an increase in demand for high quality, value for money and self-catered holidays for between 3 and 7 nights. But be mindful to remember that your market asks you to tackle seasonality, but equally you need to accommodate families and people with disabilities. The larger your target market, the more chance you have of filling those buildings.
We're disability friendly. At the moment, we don't have facilities for animals, but we're wheelchair friendly. All our paths are wide enough and have access for wheelchairs in and out of the restaurant and in and out of the park.
Looking at your local accommodation providers, analyse which of those will be direct competitors. Chances are you won't be the only farm looking to offer these services.
Our accommodation isn't unique, there's rather similar places locally, and so we have to make sure that what we do represents good value, so that when people look at the place, they see it, they see a description and they think, well, I looked at XYZ place, the pricing seems fair, it looks nice, and they inquire. So really our customers benchmark against our competitors. And
with competition at an all-time high in this sector, how do you compete? What are your competitors offering their customers? How much for? How successful are they? And after all of this benchmarking, what can you offer customers that they can't? What is your unique selling point? One way of achieving this is through marketing and advertising your accommodation through the telling of your story. Talk about yourselves, let people get to know you, show how the farm has changed and what is still the same. Follow this with an actual description of the accommodation and what it can offer. And then how beneficial the location is to not only the visitor but also the local area. And finally, promote the beauty of the place that you call home.
People staying in rural accommodation are likely to have a higher income and will be looking for their home away from home. A practical living space is expected which can accommodate nights in, where food can be sourced easily and locally. The accommodation is just the base. People want lots to do, and we use the time they have in the area as productively as possible.
A lot of our visitors come to our accommodation because we're located next to a cycling route. So they bring their bicycles down on the back of their cars and go out for hours seeing the countryside.
Increasingly, visitors are looking at what activity, experience or interest they would like to pursue and choosing their accommodation based on this. Tourist organisations are now trying to promote healthy living and a good well-being to make sure your accommodation has the right location and can complement this.
So far, we've discussed why you would want to enter the self-catering farm accommodation sector, the increase in revenue, market, how to combat competitors using best practice and demand, not forgetting customer expectations. So let's look at the product. What are you going to actually offer to your customers?
Quality is key. Visit England recognises the importance quality has on the modern hospitality industry. This covers areas such as appearance, grounds and gardens, management efficiency, cleanliness and decor. The product needs to be top end. Focus and emphasise the quality and comfort you are offering your potential customers. Don't forget the extra touches for the homely feel. This could go a long way in creating a much better customer satisfaction.
To gain a competitive advantage, it is useful to be able to provide a marketing package that includes high quality accommodation, plus, for example, fishing, golf, equestrian or other sport and nature interests.
We are on South Coast Cycle Path, we're on lots of good footpaths. This lends itself to holidays and holiday lets.
Location is also a hugely important factor in this industry. As mentioned before, you need to be able to recommend local activities, walking trails, cycling routes, community events, tourist attractions and activities are a good place to start when looking to start up a business.
Use your running farm to your advantage. Allow visitors to engage with it. Offer your produce to them. Promote tractor rides. Allow them to go on tours around your whole farm. This will all create a relationship between you and your customer, and this will encourage them to visit again.
Let's look at this from another perspective. Imagine it's summer. You've been really busy, but then the summer season ends and your occupation rates drop. How do you tackle seasonality?
Seasonality is a massive part of it, really, if you're not booked up from the beginning of July until the end of September, i.e. the summer holidays, you're doing something seriously wrong, because you should be booked up then. It's reflected in the pricing as well, that's peak season in terms of price. Similarly, Christmas and New Year, always busy. Easter, bank holidays, half terms, and then in the winter, really, you kind of take whatever you can get in terms of rentals, because it can be quite.
Seasonality is a problem for any tourism online business, and overcoming it can be a field of difficulty. Key events such as Halloween and Christmas can increase your occupancy rates through the use of marketing. Also, advertising that your accommodation has a wood burner or insulation can help increase your occupancy rates through the difficult winter and autumn months. Through watching this podcast, you should now have a clear idea on how to run a good self-catered farm accommodation. But one question remains: how will your customers know that your product is of a good quality? How do you prove it? Many people are of the opinion that accreditation is not as important as it seems. But the big question is, do your competitors have accreditation? Accreditation, however, is your business being recognised by industry practitioners for doing the right things.
Visit England offers various different accreditations to recognise quality, as do the AA. The NFU offers Farm Diversification and Farming Champion Awards, whilst there is also the opportunity to win county awards for excellence. There are just some of the more recognised awards. However, it is important to determine which accreditation schemes best suit your product. It is also important to promote your local area. Schemes such as the Walkers and Cyclists are welcome UK networks. Redefine your product.
So, the decision lies with you on which accreditation you wish to obtain and exactly how many. Do you believe that accreditation is useful when choosing where to stay?
I do, because it gives you some idea of the accommodation that you're going to be staying in, and it gives you some guidelines as to how it will be. So hopefully the more staff that somewhere has got, the better the accommodation will be.
Yeah, okay, brilliant, thank you. So on average, how long do you stay normally at these self-catering accommodation places?
It varies. It depends what else is happening. If people have to get back for work or school or whatever, it can be a long weekend, or it could be up to a week.
Okay.
A couple of weeks maybe.
So why did you choose to go to a working farm self-catered accommodation?
Because usually they're obviously in the countryside and nice and nice surroundings, and it's nice to see the farm working.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because we fancy going to an area for a particular reason. If you've got relatives or something down there that you'd like to see, that's quite good to combine the two.
Okay. Is it particularly beneficial to, say, young children? Or?
Yeah, because I remember when we've stayed at some of them, they've been able to go and see the animals or go and collect the eggs from the chickens and things like that. So there's things for them to see and do, which is nice.
Okay. Can you remember the names of any?
There was one near Oldcombe, I think it's called Bramley Knoll, which we went to about a year or so ago, which was, yeah, that was one.
Brilliant, okay. And last question from me, so what do you believe has the biggest influence in choosing the accommodation?
The biggest influence I think is value for money, as I say, because most people have a budget for their holiday, so they need to obviously be within that. I think things to do where you are and roundabout is quite good, because obviously if you've got children as well, you need to accommodate wet days as well, particularly if it's in this country. Yeah, and generally just a nice place if you're self-catering, and it's nice to be able to have good facilities for that, and washing machines and things like that.
Okay. So value for money and quality, you'd probably say. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you very much for your time.
That's all right.
We hope that through our advice and having seen best practice, you will be able to diversify your farm in a successful manner. Competition in the self-catering accommodation sector is high, and therefore it is of paramount importance you remember to offer something your competitors cannot. From all of us here at Farming Diversification Consultants, we wish you the best of luck in diversifying your farm and filling those buildings.